David Wilson, the Business Savage. Listen, do you need to grow your network in 2021? Do you need more connections in 2021 because you need to make more sales in 2021? Because you need to make more money in 2021? Well, I have something for you. It's a free video and a free script on how to connect anyone to anyone, anywhere, for any reason, without the fear of rejection. That's right. You never feel rejected ever again, because that's the biggest hurdle that we face, that rejection. I'll show you how to never face that again. Go to www.thenorejectionconnection.com. That's www.thenorejectionconnection.com. Watch my free video and get started today.
This is William Eastman, Managing Partner for GrowthWorks Media and Station Director at IBGR. If you listen to any of our broadcasts, you know we consider all entrepreneurs part of one family. People who are the heroes of our societies because they put their soul into the game and risk failure for everybody else. We want to meet and get to know everyone, like having a family reunion. Plus, to provide the highest quality of programming, we need to hear from you. The place to start is to become a subscriber. Every week we will send you our broadcasting schedule, links to show notes, and occasionally a gift like something practical from our toolbox. It is simple to do. Go to our Join Us page, sign up, and become part of the most important global community, entrepreneurs. Never forget, we create over 50% of the jobs around the world. We look forward to meeting you.
You are listening to Women of Business Thriving on the IBGR Network. And I am your host, Dr. Tracie Hines Lashley. And we're talking about storytelling, which is something I started to embrace. I was talking about before that I didn't really embrace that initially. But I'm seeing how it could grow your business. And especially with other women when they know your story. Women love to shop, you guys. We do. If we can find a reason to spend money, a lot of times we will. So, storytelling is self-affirmation. It's like writing therapy. You're writing down, grief or loss or trauma maybe. Capturing your own personal stories through journaling or other means help you to understand yourself better through activating your life experiences, celebrating the amazing life moments. And I bring up journaling because sometimes that's where our best stories are. John Maxwell would always say, he would tell us, his audience too, write down some stories. You may not find a reason to use it right away, but jot it down. Because there's going to be a day when you have to speak and you are going to wish you had some stories to go and pull out of. So that is one thing that I learned. That was one of the biggest things I learned about storytelling. Make sure you capture stories. Even when my grandchildren do crazy things or certain things, I would write them down. Because I can probably use them somewhere. So that's one thing that I want you to do is if you don't journal, try it. Try jotting some stories down, some of your experiences, because it will help you with your relationship with not only your staff, but your customers. So buy a journal, write, and listen to yourself. I was coaching an individual and I told her, I said, well, she always was wondering how she sound or if what she says is important or it sounds okay. I said, well, do this. Start recording yourself. She was like, what? I said, yes, record yourself and play it back. So she did that, and she was like, wow, it made a huge difference. And so I'm telling you to try it. And also, it'll help you find your strength in your leadership. You'll be more confident. You'll have more self-love, and it will pour out. You know, I'm a heartfelt leader. Is something about the heart. And you always hear, well, back in the day, I'm going to say back in the day, I don't want to tell how old I am. You know, I'm not going to age myself. But you'd always hear, no, you can't. You can't be nice to your staff. No, they got to know who the boss is. Well, you can be the boss, but also have a heart. Do you know your employees? Do you know their stories? Because guess what? If you are a speaker, trainer, even coach, sometimes you hear stories and you can use them. Don't state the names, of course, but you can use that. So that's another way to grow your business. What was it? What was a story that someone told you during a session that can help someone else? See where I'm going with this? So stories are huge. Stories are a management resource. Stories can be used as an important tool to help you show vulnerability and empathy, which develop personal credibility. Essential aspect of leadership. If you can tell a great story, you can strengthen your relationships with your employees, your funders, even members of the community. So let's get great at telling stories. So before the show, if you didn't think that a story could grow your business, I hope you know that it will after listening to this show. So I hope you went out and found the app and downloaded the show notes, because you're going to need them. And also, a great story has authentic emotions. Yeah, be authentic. Don't go and steal someone else's story and say, okay, hey, I can use this. And it doesn't even sound like you. And trust me, people will know if it's authentic or not. They will pick up on it, especially your staff. They will know. They'll be like, why is she telling this story? It's like, man, okay. So another thing that why we want you to be authentic is because they want to know who you are. They want to know that, hey, okay, wow, she made it through. I can too. So another thing is a great story. It shares a moment. Maybe your story happened when you were on the phone or on a snowy day in January morning. You know, set the tone. Another thing a great story does, it has specific details. So you want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row before you start telling the story. Can you imagine you're telling a story and you lose it? You just lose your audience because you're all over the place with it. That's something that you do not want to happen to you. So make sure you have all of the details for your story. Like when I was talking about Madam C.J. Walker's story. The reason I knew and I could relate that story to my material is because I already was prepared. I knew exactly the points I wanted to make and the reason I was making them. So make sure your story makes sense. You don't want to lose your audience or your client's ear, or it will not work. And so we talk about authenticity. You want to make sure that you are being a little bit vulnerable and sharing your challenges. You want it to have power. And when you have power to change the hearts and the minds of other people, guess what? Your business will show. It will grow. And so when you're telling your story, you want to share your experience, and that will motivate other people. Emotional connection that you start building with people and the relationships you have will start developing because you are positively impacting their life. I didn't know this growing up. Again, like I was saying before, I would hear stories all the time at the corner store, when I used to go to the recreation center, even in my house, at home. And I never knew that those stories would be used today. Even though I didn't have a journal jotting down stories, I remembered them. I remembered the stories that people would tell me when I was younger. Even our teachers, when they tell stories, we'll be like, I don't want to hear it. No, why are they telling me this? But when you get older, you remember that story. You'll be like, well, when Coach D said this, man, I remember that. And you can even have your employees share their experiences with each other. Let them get vulnerable with each other. That is one thing I learned to do also. It took a little bit. It was a little challenging to get them to, just to get vulnerable and shed all of the dead weight off of you and open up. But once they heard each other's story, they got along better, and it connected them. Because there are things that happen to them that say happen to me too. I'm like, oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? They communicate, the relationship just bonded them because of their stories. So it'll also grow your team. It elevates your organization. So I know I've been talking about the customer aspect of this, but imagine growing your team by telling your stories and creating an environment where they can tell theirs. Just show them the benefits of storytelling. Even during a meeting, there might be something of, okay, well, y'all, let's talk about a customer that you had. Tell a story about it. What was the experience of the customer? And that is another way of having positive reviews. So if you want to capture some positive reviews for your website or for your business, period, think about stories. The stories that your team have told you of how it has changed the life of someone else. Think about when I talked about Madam C.J. Walker, all of her experiences, all of the things that she went through, and how her business just blossomed. What is it in your business that can take you that same route if you just what? Shared your story. And not think so hard about it. Just do it. So when we come back, we'll close this out. See you soon.